Good evening, Dhamma friends. Let me wish you all the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem to begin today's Sutta studies. It is Saturday, September 7th. Uh, we are going to conduct Sutta studies today to know the Dhamma more and more and speed up our practice towards attaining Nirvana. I'm joining today from Mississauga Bodhisvara during a 2-day meditation retreat. So I'm happy to have this opportunity with thanks in mind for Venerable monks at this temple. They allowed me to use all the facilities to conduct this Sutta study class so that my appreciation goes to them, and whatever merits we develop out of this program should be with all the monks at this temple. Wishing you all happiness and peace. Let me give a start to today's Sutta studies by paying homage to the Supreme Buddha with Namo Tassa 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. I pay my homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. I pay my homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. I pay my homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Remembering about the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha is always a blessing. We cannot go for refuge anything in this world. We have been having friends, family members, various type of relatives, and we have met different type of people in our workplaces. We have been traveling all around in the world, but none of them made us supremely happy. But whenever we think about the security that comes from the idea of Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, it goes over everything. So that the refuge to the Supreme Buddha and the Dhamma and Sangha is the highest. So that's why we engage in Dhamma discussion in this manner, despite the time, despite the other activities. We value this time, this opportunity, just because of exploring the deep teaching of the Buddha in our experience. So, having said this, I just want to jump into the Sutta discussion today. As you know, we always select a sutta for the week. In the email notification, I did not mention a particular sutta. However, you all know from experience that I keep 1 or 2 suttas for discussion, because our idea is to get you familiar with some important discourses from the Nikaya, so that your understanding should be based on the suttas. In other words, you go to refer to the discourses whenever you need to Dhamma, so that your understanding is going to be very clear. So today I thought of discussing about 5 aggregates of clinging. Pancha Upadhanakhandha in Pali, Pancakhandha in Sinhala. I think many Buddhists have heard about this particular word, Pancakhandha, Pancha Upadhanakhandha, and I am not sure that many people used to this English translation, 5 aggregates of clinging. I know all these members in the Sutta discussion class know about it, but in general, the English terms are difficult for many Buddhists, even in Canada, in America. Anyhow, where do we get this word first? From the first discourse, the Dhammacakkappavattana. When you listen to Pirit chanting, where Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is chanted, Sankittena Panchupadana Dukkha. You heard that word when the first noble truth of suffering is explained. So, therefore, this word sounds familiar to us. However, the practice of Panchakhandha and Panchupadana Khandha may not be that easy. It's really difficult. It's really challenging because the Panchakhandha are not material. They are immaterial, so that something immaterial is unknown easily. Um, in a normal convocation, people say uh, this body as Panchakhandha, but it is wrong. It is wrong when they understood that this particular body is Panchakhandha, but our body could be a Panchakhandha in a way we see it, in a way we absorb it. I will tell you how it becomes. So anyway, the main topic of this of the today's discussion is Panchakhandha and Panchupadana Khandha. I go to two suttas to explain this so that we are not away from using suttas in today's discussion, despite taking a topic. Um, my mind went to a couple of suttas, but I selected two. They are from Samyutta Nikaya section called Khandha Sangyukta. Samyutta Nikaya, the collected discourses of the Buddha, is very rich with so many Dhamma facts. Sometimes Majjhima Nikaya and Digha Nikaya and Anguttara Nikaya and also Buddha Nikaya cannot explain certain terms, but Samyutta Nikaya gives reference to them. So that because of that fact, I always like to read Samyutta Nikaya so that you can find a lot of important information. In Samyutta Nikaya, Khandha Samyutta, by name, it says it talks about the skandha or aggregates. The first sutta, if you refer to it, is Nakula Pita Sutta. I think these names are very familiar to you also. Nakula Mata and Nakula Pita. They are they are very famous couple at the time of the Buddha to denote that how husband and wife should live together from the moment they came to know, from the moment somebody comes to know, and to the end of life. So in today's world, we have seen some sort of some sort of similar characters too. So Nakula Mata and Nakula Pita, we are not going to talk about their life stories, but this sutta is named by that name just because Nakula Pita, the husband of Nakula Mata, came to see the Buddha when the Buddha was not in Savatthi, but it says among it's a deer park again, and this deer park is located in Besakala forest near a crocodile hunt. It's an area where crocodiles, haunted, are haunted, and that area is called Bug. The country called Bug, Besakala forest, where crocodiles are, everywhere. We can see that it's a muddy area. Then the household Nakula Pita went to the Buddha and on arrival, having bowed down to him, said to one side. We can see that every faithful people to the Buddha respected the Buddha in such a way, and then only they started the conversation. Excuse me. So after sitting by one side of the Buddha, he asked this: Bante, I'm a feeble old man. Now I am age beyond average, advanced in years now. Having come to the last stage of life, he knows that he is in the last stage of life. I think many of you experience this. Even sometimes you say that, Bante, we are in the last stage of life. Who knows when we go? So we all know that, right? But from one point of view, we are also in last stage of life because we are not sure about the passing time in this life, from this life. So death is certain for everyone. Death could happen to everyone. But in general sense, when you are over 75, 80, 85, 90, so you are knocking the door of that particular experience, which you should not be worried about because everybody has to experience that. Talking about death in a spiritual tradition is not a bad thing. So that's why I told you that knocking the door of death could happen to somebody who is over that particular age. So this man, uh, Nakula Pita, says that I am feeble, I am aged, I am advanced in years. Now I'm someone is closer to dying. Bante, I'm afflicted in body and ailing with every moment. So see, even though he came to see the Buddha, he must be having a stick to support him. Still, he is walking slow because of the bodily condition. He has a lot of issues, I think. It is only really this is the case, he said. So this is my situation. My problem is my problem in my mind is that I rarely get the opportunity to see the Buddha, Yobante, and the monks who nourished our heart. So by this knowledge, information, we know that how faithful Nakula Pita towards the Buddha and Mahasangha. They are nourishing my heart every time I meet. So now, since my situation is not well, I know I do not get that opportunity. Sometimes our devotees also say this to us, not because they think that we are like the Buddha, but when you have that faith in mind, you always want to see such people. Kalyana Mita Sevana is required for everyone. Leaving a Sevanacha Balana, leaving foolish people away from life, associating wholesome people is required for us, and it brings joy. It renews our determination to attain to enlightenment. It gives so much mental energy. So now Nakula Beta is losing it because his age is a factor, and also visiting the Buddha's visiting to different cities takes place every time, so he cannot go to a particular place always. Um, may the Buddha teach me. This is the time I got to you got to see you after a long time. Excuse me. May the Buddha teach me. May the Buddha instruct me. May it help for my long term benefits and happiness. So this is the way someone who is devoted invite the Buddha to teach Dhamma. It's a form of request, but very humbly, with so much veneration. Let's see what the Buddha's response is. So it is, householder. So it is. Yeah, I can see that you are feeble. I can see that you are aged. I can see that your body is such that you cannot walk, you cannot properly use it. But uh, uh, for who looking after this body would claim even a moment of true health? Yeah, Buddha confirmed the statement made by Nakulapita in different ways that yes, if somebody says that this body is having good health even for a moment, I'm not telling that he is telling the truth. Not even a second. This body could be in good health. Every second, this body has that nature of falling of the quality. And we from various Dharma points know that the body is made by four elements. So that those four elements always changes so that all the cells are renewed every time, so that we cannot expect this body to be 100% healthy at all. So that is what the Buddha said here. Except through sheer foolish. So you should train yourself. So having said this, I would instruct you this. You should train this. Even though I may be afflicted in body, my mind will be unafflicted. So I know that my body is a place for all kinds of illnesses plus aging, but I do not let my mind experience the same thing. So this is a very important statement to keep in mind. Even though my body has a cancer, even though my body has failing kidneys, even though I have problem in my heart, lungs, even though I am certain to death at some point, I do not worry about it. That is unrepairable, unstoppable, but I never let my mind, be sick, uh, be afflicted. I can make my mind healthy at all. That is the type of brave statement Buddha made for Nakula Bhittai and for all of us. After this, householder Gruhapati Nakulapita, householder means Gruhapati. It's a general term for all the laymen at that time, Gruhapati. Without questioning anything, he was so happy about that particular statement, um, and left the Buddha from there. This is what the Sutta says. The householder Nakulapita, delighting in and approving of the Buddha's word, rose from his seat and bowing down to the Buddha, circumambulating him, keeping him to right side. So circumambulating means when you go to a stupa or a bodhi gara, you go around the stupa or bodhi gara, keeping your right side towards the bodhi or the stupa. That's how you circumambulate. So we can see that this is done by many devotees, and Buddha never rejected it. Let them do it because that is done out of devotion, out of respect. So we cannot see that it is stopped by the Buddha. Uh, in today's shrine room, we cannot have this, but in some area, particularly with the Bodhi tree and the Dagab, we can do that. So then, where did Nakulapita go after this? He went to the Venerable Sariputta. This shows that the Buddha came to Bhagava, that Besakala grove with Venerable Sariputta, maybe many other monks, particularly Venerable Ananda. So Nakula Pita went to Venerable Sariputta and did the same respect to Venerable Sariputta, except that circumambulating and the other things. Then Venerable Sariputta started talking. Hey, he was sitting there. Venerable Sariputta said to Nakulapita, your faculties are very clear and calm. Your complexion is pure. Have you had the opportunity today of listening to a Dhamma talk in the presence of the Supreme Buddha? This is what Venerable Sariputta recognized. Your faculties are clear and calm, and they are serene. Complexion is pure. What is the reason for this happiness? Have you had the opportunity to listen to a Dhamma talk in the presence of the Supreme Buddha? This is the answer. How could it be otherwise, Venerable Sir? I have just now been sprinkled by the Buddha with the deathless ambrosia of a Dhamma talk. This is a wonderful way to say it. It's very literal, very nice. I'm getting the Pali one. Let me have the Pali. It's very nice to hear it. Yeah, it is here. Bhagavata Dhammya Kataya Amatena Abhisittoti. Amatena Abhe. Amat means deathless. Amurta in Sinhala, we call it, it's a food from put for divine beings. So Amata again is the deathless. Mata is Marana, death. Amata, when you add in front of Mata, it becomes Amata. It means that deathless. So the Dhamma talk is so excellent and tasty, and it shows how great the Dhamma sermon from the Buddha to Nakulapita. Then just now I went to the Buddha, and so the Nakulapita repeated the story. This is how I went there, and this is what I did there before the conversation. This is what I told the Buddha first, and then this is what the Buddha responded, and so and so. Every words uttered during the conversation with the Buddha, he said to Venerable Sariputta. So then the Venerable Sariputta asked, when this was said, what is that? Even the body is afflicted, do not let your mind be afflicted. When this was said, didn't you question the Buddha for clarification, for further explanation? Without giving a particular answer like, no, I didn't, no, I wanted, or I do not want it. He said that I would come from far away place, far away, to hear the explication of these words in Venerable Sariputta's presence. It would be good if Venerable Sariputta himself would enlighten me as to their meaning. So, sometime even Anathapindika, the great philanthropist at the time of the Buddha, did not want to question the Buddha just because he thought that asking questions by me makes the Buddha tired. Let other monks, nuns, and lay people use the opportunity. So, likewise, it could be that Nakulapita thought the same thing. And the other thing is that he knew that Venerable Sariputta is also close vicinity, so that I could go to Venerable Sariputta for further clarification, because maybe there were a lot of people waiting for asking questions from the Buddha. He knew that. So anything could happen. Anyway, Nakulapita said that I came to you just because of this reason. Please explain the meaning of the Buddha's statement to me in details. Then Venerable Sariputta never rejected this kind of invitation, because he lived for that kind of purposes. Then Venerable Sariputta said, okay, this is the case. There are two people in the entire world. One is Asutva Putujjana, the other one is Sutava Arya Savaka. So far, with the discussion, we came to know about these two types of people, but it is better for us to remind ourselves who they are. Asutva Putujjana means the one who is not taken any instruction from the Buddha or Shravaka of the Buddha or any other person. He doesn't know about the Buddha. He doesn't know about the Dharma. He doesn't know about the Sangha. Sangha means fourfold disciple. He doesn't know anything about all these wonderful things, so that he is reckoned as Putujjana. So this person, how conceive the world with notion of I, with notion of Atta. So with regard to five aggregates, now we come to five aggregates. What are the five aggregates? Rupa, form, Vedana, feeling, Sanya, perception, Sankhara, formation, and Vijnana, consciousness. These are the five aggregates. With regard to five aggregates, he doesn't know how to name the five aggregates. He doesn't know anything about. But what happened to him always is he attached to these aggregates. He considered these five aggregates as I, me, and myself. In the Sutta Nakulapita, you can see that he develops Sakkaya Ditthi in 20 ways with regard to five aggregates. One aggregate is taken or is considered with self in 4 ways. This is how it is. He assumes form, in this regard the body. He assumed the body to be the self. What do you mean by self? What do you mean by non-self? This should also be clear. In Pali, self is atta, which means always you pinpoint you, me. The other explanation from different tradition is the things created by the God as a being. That always that particular essence called Atta has a connection with the God. It's created by the God, and the God it has connection with the God. Once this moves from to next life, it is decided by the God, and if the self, if the person does well here in this life, this self is going to be united with the particular God they believe. So there are different interpretations. So anyway, from the Dhamma point of view, self is kind of mityaditi and wrong view, and personality view. There we think that there is a self kind of essence living without change. So here the body, the Putujjana, the person who doesn't know anything about the Buddha and Sangha, believes that the body is self, the first one. And the second one is self, the self as possessing form. The self, he believes that the self is here. Let's say this body is self, and this body possesses the form. That is the second point of view. And the form as in the self, form, rupa, is in this body. And then the self as in form. These are the four ways of Sakkaya Ditthi with regard to first aggregates. He is seized with this, with the idea that I am form, form is mine, and as he is seized with this idea, his form changes and alters, and he falls into sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair over its changes and alteration. So, despite his view on form, we know that this body is changing, is experiencing alteration. Day by day, this body changes. Week after week, after month after month, year after year, what happened to this body is aging, and time to time experience sicknesses also. Since this particular Putujjana really attached to this body as self, as me and myself, he is going to experience suffering. Oh, what happened to me? Oh, I'm done. How could I bear this pain? When I'm done, when I experience this pain, when I experience that pain, how could I support this my family? And so he worries, he lament, he grieves, and he does all kind of things. um, then Venerable Sariputta continues, not only with the form, first aggregate, even with the feeling, even with the perception, even with the mental formation, even with the consciousness, this particular person who doesn't know about the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha considers and then become worried, because not only form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness, they are all they all experience the change, alteration. They are anicca, they are viparinama, kaya. We can see the breakaway of feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. Look at yourself now. When you sat down on your chair for the discussion, you feel very comfortable. Now you have been sitting there for about let's say 30 minutes. So now pain, discomfort, distress might arise in your back, right? So do you see that how feeling change without change in the body is kept in the same way, but but now uh, pain in the body has been changed. So if we stand up, now pleasant feeling again. Likewise, we can see that feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness, they are all changing from moment to moment because of the given conditions. So this, explained to this, having explained this uh, perception of Putujjana, Venerable Sariputta says, um, this is how one is afflicted in body and afflicted in mind. Not only the Putujjana experiences pain, sorrow, lamentation physically, his mind is also sick because he thinks that there is I, me, and myself in five aggregates, so that he becomes worried when the changes of the five aggregates takes place. When the anicca, dukkha, anatta, they are 100% anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, they are impermanent, they are unsatisfactory, so that the nature of the five aggregate is non-self. So that's the nature. So, however, the person thinks the otherwise. The person who doesn't know about the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha thinks the otherwise, so that he is mentally ill. In this regard, we do not consider those particular people only in this category. Like, if you are stressful and gone beyond that level, you are considered a mentally derailed person. We are not considering only that particular people. People who have no regard for Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha stay in that particular Putujjana realm, and they are mentally ill from the spiritual language. Then Venerable Sariputta, without waiting too much of time, started explaining how one could be uh, mentally pure and unafflicted, even though the body is having the same pattern of illness, aging. So that happens to the Arya Savaka, not anyone else. He is defined as well instructed individuals of the noble ones. Arya Savaka, when you come to that stage, you are fully instructed by Kalyana Mittas. They are called noble people, so that you regard them very much. So you have venerations for them very much, and you trust on the teachings of the Kalyana Mittas very much. Who are the best Kalyana Mittas for us? If we are Kalyana Mittas, the Buddha, the Arahants, the Anagamis, the Sakadagamis, the Sotapanna, and those people who are ethically wholesome, who support us for some good things. We have Kalyanamitas from the Buddha. The Buddha is himself is the greatest Kalyanamita, and there are many from the past, and there are many in the current world as well. So these Kalyanamitas always emphasize the fact that you should be living with the Dhamma and Vinaya. They emphasize both Dhamma and Vinaya. A lot of people think that knowing the Dhamma is quite enough. No, Vinaya should also be practiced. Without Vinaya, you cannot absorb the Dhamma, right? So Vinaya is the way of living to absorb the Dhamma. So in Sangvara, we talk about Vinaya. So particularly monks have over 200 Vinaya rules. Nuns have over 300 Vinaya rules, and you can have 5, 8, 10 Vinaya rules. But apart from this, everybody is familiar with the Indriya Sangvara and restraint from senses, and then restraint of eating food and using houses and medicine and food. And so these are some of those ways to discipline. So when you discipline, you can absorb the Dhamma. In today's world, we can see that a lot of people say that you don't want to stick to Vinaya rules, just clear your right understanding, Samadhi, there you get into a Sotapanna state. But there is no possibility in the Dhamma to happen to it. Even a lay person attain to Sotapanna, at that point, he or she must be completing the Vinaya into that extent, right? So with nothing in Vinaya, you cannot step in the Dhamma at all. So Vinaya is always important. So this Arya Savaka considers form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness, all five aggregates, as not self. This is how he considers. Uh, does not assume form to be self, the self as possessing form, the form as in the self as in form. He is not seized with the idea that I am form, form is mine. So basically, he never thinks or she never thinks that form is self, self is form, and so on. Therefore, he doesn't or she doesn't hold on to idea I am form and form is mine. Therefore, he doesn't experience sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief when form is changes. I told you that Pancakhandha is not this physical body in a certain way, but Pancakhandha, the body become Pancakhandha when you absorb it through senses. I see my hand, right? I see my hand there. Then this hand is going to be a picture to me when as long as I see it from my eyes. Then uh, in my mind, uh, which means I see this from my physical eye, and there eye consciousness arises immediately together with seeing. Their contact takes place in the basis of eye. Their feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness arises. This is clearly explained in Mahatya Padogun Sutta and elsewhere. So how five aggregates arises in Salayatana. So then this hand to me is going to be a rupa. Otherwise it is a part of physical body. So your body could be a form, aggregate of form, as you conceive or perceive it from eyes, ears, nose, body. And suppose you see your body, yourself in a graduation picture, the picture taken during the graduation. You saw it. You saw you are in the middle of friends. You see your wedding photo. So yourself has become now a form, aggregate of form. So that's why I told you that all Panchaskandhas are not material, they are immaterial. They are the Rupa derived from four elements is called Rupakhandha. So that Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, the Mahabhuta, four great elements should be outside or something made up of four great elements should be outside, and we see it and we create a form in our mind, and not one, many. Then we, the person who absorb, perceive, definitely, it's not a personal based done thing. It happens automatically. The rupa is welcomed by the minds with the presence of feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So that all five aggregates are being created in the Salayatana. So this happened for even Buddha, this happened for even Arahant, this happened for Arya Savaka, this happened for even Putujjana. But everyone is going to be different from Putujjana, as I said, because of this observation. The Arya Savaka never considers the form as myself and mine. Therefore, he is he doesn't consider form is self, the feeling is self, the perception is self, the mental formation is self, the consciousness is self. He thinks that it's not mine. It is uh, created. If I take some other teachings from many other discourses, he thinks that this is depending on this and that. This is how form is created. This is how um, feeling is created, and the nature of form and feeling and perception and so on is impermanent. So how could this be myself? If you look at the Panchavagya Sutta in Sri Lanka, it is famous as Anatalakkhana Sutta. The Buddha clearly says that if chaku is mine, I could have the control, full control on our eyes. If Rupa is mine, we would be able to control it. If Sota, the ears, are mine, we would be able to have that full control. But we cannot see that from the way the ears, eyes, nose, tongue, body, and mind existed. They are subject to aging, they are subject to ailments, they are subject to death, they are subject to all kinds of verification. If you say that uh, they are mine, maybe you should have some control, but we cannot see even 1% of control. So that Arya Savaka clearly thinks that they are impermanent, they are unsatisfactory, therefore that is not mine. As a result, the Arya Savaka is always different from Putujana. He never becomes sorrowful, lamented over changes of five aggregates. Which means that he never become unhappy when things happen. Because every time we live, what we create is five aggregates. um, five aggregates. Soon after, immediate and together with creation of five aggregates, people have attachment for it because it's very subtle. So, but with Yonisho Manasikara, the very quality that Arya Savaka possess, uh, he or she knows how to get the presence of mindfulness and right effort. He or she knows how to stuff greater part of attachment, greater part of craving, so that his view on all these five aggregate is going to be no self, no anything else like that. Therefore, Venerable Sariputta is saying here that householder Nakulapita, this is how one is, yes, particularly afflicted in body, but not afflicted in mind. This is how you become anatura. The word Pali, he use both use is atura and anatura. Atura means aturaya. In Sinhala folk tales, we see this many times that aturaya. Aturaya in Toil, in those devil dance, we have this name Aturaya. The one who is ill is called Atura. So you become anatura, you become unafflicted in mind when you consider five aggregates as five aggregates, and you stuff I, me, and myself notion with five aggregates, so that your mind is totally pure and nice and clean. So this is how householder uh, one is going to be unafflicted in mind despite the affliction of the body. And this is what Venerable Sariputta said. And Nakulapita, gratified, delighted in the words of Venerable Sariputta. That is the Nakulapita Sutta actually. Um, um, Let me go to another sutta in the same section called Samadhi Sutta. Um, uh, in that sutta, Samadhi, the Buddha spoke these wonderful things about samadhi to a group of bhikkhus. He said, bhikkhus develop concentration. A bhikkhu who is concentrated understand things as they really are. So, jayeta bhikkhave, the Pali word jayeta bhikkhave, and samahitan chittang yatha bhutang pajanati. When you develop samadhi, you are going to know what is exactly happening in our mind. Yathabhuta doesn't mean that you go somewhere and explore knowledge outside of the world about this and that. Always Yathabhuta in teaching is about knowing about your mind. We have to dig into our mind. Like in Vamika Sutta, you dig into the anthill and you find out different objects hidden in the anthill. It's a metaphorical statement of the Buddha. So you dig into your mind, then you find various unwanted constructed concept like Panchanivarana, Sangyojana, fetters, fermentation, or what you call astrava, then underlying tendencies called anusay. You are finding a lot of garbage like thought processes in my layers of unwholesomeness could be able to find when you dig into, but you should have some weapons to dig into your mind. Without weapons you cannot dig into. If you are given a concrete wall without any instrument, how could you make a hole of the concrete wall? By finger? It's impossible. So you should have a hammer, you should have a iron bar at least. So you should have some gloves. Something should be there for you to even to try out. In the same manner, if you dig into your mind, you should have some maditi, yoniso manasikara. You should have a particular way of knowing about your body. Before you go to know about your mind, you better know about something you feel, something you touch, something you know. So therefore, you have to have some preparations, preliminary works on this regard. So anyway, as you are disciples of the Buddha for a long time, you of course understand this in many ways. No need to spend much time to do it. Anyway, how do we dig into? We should have right understanding. If we talk about this particular aspect through the base of Noble Eightfold Path, you should have right understanding, Sammaditi, and you should have Samma Sati, and also Samma Vayama. These are the three main tools that you use to dig into your mind. Then only you see these five hindrances, Sangyojana, Asrava, Anusaya, and the root causes of all these said, mentioned layers of akusala, layers of unwholesomeness called Lobha Dosa Moha. You can find them. So, Avijja, where Avijja is, where Tanhaya? Oh, of course, when all these things exist in mind, you are in Avijja. You are in Avijja. So, Avijja is also found in this particular observation, exploration. So, but you cannot do it without a particular quality in your mind. That is called samadhi. In this sutta called concentration samadhi, Buddha pointed out that you cannot do it well to the last level of your exploration without samadhi. Therefore, the Buddha instructed monks and nuns and you lay people also at the time of the Buddha, even now today, we all are considered to practice samadhi. Samadhi is the perfect mindset for anyone to start the training well. So it's a samadhi practice itself is a part of samadhi, samma sati, samma vayama, but you are qualified, you are graduated to do something great when you have samadhi. So this is what the Buddha continued. He said, a bhikkhu who is concentrated understand things as they really are. And what does he understand as it really is? The origin and passing of form, rupa, the origin and passing away of feeling, the origin and passing away of perception, the origin and passing away of volitional formation, the origin and passing away of consciousness. So you are going to know two important aspects of age aggregates when you have perfect samadhi. In other words, get into samadhi, recognize five aggregates or aggregates of clinging, whatever it is. Then see two aspects. You can see two aspects. What are the two aspects? Samudaya and Vaya in Pali. In English, origin and also passing of. Origin of form and passing of form. Origin of feeling and passing of feeling. Origin of perception, passing of perception. Origin of sankara, passing of sankara. Origin of vijnana and passing of vijnana. You do not want to make things happen. That is happening always. They are natural. So when you see this arising of aggregates and passing of aggregates at once based on Paticca you are going to find delight. So you remain in delights. This is called gladness, pamujja. You feel kind of happy now. Then with that delight, with that welcome, with that whole into, uh, uh, he's going to see the consequences of form. Uh, he sees that this because he or she look at the form rising and passing, and he clearly got it. Now he's happy, and he sees form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and all these things. So there he sees that if I do not have this particular observation mindfully, my mind goes to attach to my mind goes to have delight, nandi, and then mind goes to welcome the form, and then after nandi and welcome and what do you call then passion. When you have these ingredients created in mind for form, you don't want to worry about attachment. It comes immediately. In other words, delightness, welcoming, and holding into form means you allowed yourself to create clinging to rupa, clinging to rupa. So the person who doesn't know, the person even who has concentration knows this happen in his mind. So when you know the problem is arising, you are going to take precaution. That is what it says. So here, the bhikkhu, the person who does the right practice, seeing the delight, seeing the welcoming nature, seeing the holding into form with clinging, he is going to stop delightness. He's going to, because remember, you are going to treat the cause of upadana, not the upadana itself. How upadana arises is treated by the Arya Savaka with samadhi. There you treat the cause of upadana, and the upadana is going away, is gone, because you cut the roots of upadana, and the upadana is falling down. So then you do this for the other aggregates also. At the end, what happened to you? You cleanse your mind, which means you take the passion, take delightness, holding on to. In one word, upadana is taken from form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness out, so that your mind is clean. This is how we all should become anatura, unafflicted in mind. Don't worry about your particular body. Even my body is feeling bad today. I feel sick. I feel hot and warm temperature, and my temperature is imbalanced today since yesterday. And perhaps you are having some issues, physical issues, diabetes, cancer, failing of kidneys, holes in the heart, maybe various problems might be experiencing by you. Don't worry, let it happen. Not only this time in the samsara, we experienced it many times. Unfortunately, if fortunately we cannot remember them, but from the Buddha's point of view, we have experienced this many times in samsara. So don't worry about this physical body. It's like you know, uh, cut and shape wood, which sometimes usable, sometimes not usable. It's like discarded, materials. So consider that this is like an hill. consider that this is like this is like carcass of animal. So it happens to us. So, but from today on, I know you have been doing it slowly, together, step by step, but make a strong determination in mind that I from today keep my mind unafflicted by anything, even though my parents, even though my husband, wife, children, friends, monks say something otherwise. I do not let my mind experience suffering, because whatever they say, they are all form, feeling, perception, mental formation created in my mind. So I do not blame them, because they make sounds, they make pictures for me. It is me, it is my mind takes them as form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So I take care of my mind with the support of the Buddha's teaching. So that's how we step on to keep our mind unafflicted from clinging. So that's I wanted to share with you today. If you have anything to share, please take your time. You don't have anything to share?
Venerable sir, I don't want to tire you, but I have one point which I can add.
Yes, please.
In Kemaka Sutta, the
Yeah.
commentary gives very nice 4 examples for these 4 ways of self coming up in each one of the aggregates. The first example is, first one comes like the fire, the flame and the color. You can't separate. The second example is, there's a tree, the sun and a shadow. It creates due to cause and effect. The third one, it is like the perfume or the scent of the flower. You cannot find where it is. So we cannot find where the self is. And the fourth one, it can leave at any time. So it is like a jewel in a box. So this is all I have to add. I don't want to tire you. I know how tired you must be.
I
Whenever.
I do not want to repeat them because you beautifully explained them. So yes, thank you for pointing out the Sutta Kemaka. If anyone is interested reading it, Google it. Kemaka Sutta. It's a wonderful sutta. So read it. So I do not want to repeat on that. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Tedwan Saranai.
So today I think some members of the Sutta study class participated in the first day of the retreat, so that they were instructed to go to sleep early, so that they may be having rest, and maybe they are reflecting the Dharma. I did not want to cancel today's Sutta studies because I'm doubtful about next week Sutta studies due to the next day Poya event. Anyhow, I'm hopeful. I'm positive to have it, but better to be prepared. Engaging in the Dharma discussion is the taste of life. Despite the tiredness, you become rejuvenated. Uh, into a certain extent physically, but fully mentally when you have when you have Dhamma discussion. So that's why I did this. And other than that, I did not have anything to do at the Mississauga Vihara except welcoming treatment from the other Bantes. They are always texting me, please come for Gilampasa Peak, please, what do you need? So always, every hour I get notifications about those things. So accept accepting these, well, warmly things. And I do not have anything to do at the Visaga Buddhist, so I thought of having the Sutta discussion. I think I didn't teach you new things today, perhaps, but it is a reminder of some important Dhamma, but particularly the 5 aggregates. And I pointed out 2 suttas, Nakulapita Sutta and also Samadhi Sutta. There we also, in the discussion, we mentioned about Kemaku Sutta, Mahatipadopama Sutta, and some other suttas. So when you hear these suttas, keep in mind that someday I will look into them. So that's how we, little by little, step by step, learn the Dhamma, become marshal of the Dhammas. So that's all I can say, and I think that's all everybody want to share. So I want to end today's Suddha discussion by making a wish. May all these mothers and fathers and Dhamma friends, in other words, experience utter joy from the engagement of the Dhamma practices, and may you find that supreme security in this life, in the Dhamma, before you depart. That is my wish. May you all attain Nirvana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.